Hello Luke, and thank you very much for coming today and being part of this masterclass. So this performance is going to be a dark place, and I think it's very suitable for an own choice piece for the grade 6. Would you agree with me on that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so if you'd like to play the performance through, and then after that we'll have a chat about it. Okay, all right, over to you Luke. Thank you. So, what I want to ask you really is, why do you think the piece is called A Dark Place?
Well, so it's quite a quiet piece, so it could be as if it's being played in the dark or is hidden, or sort of when it gets to a certain point the light's being turned on. So the first and other bits could be played in the dark, and that's what's called dark place.
Yeah. So with this kind of music, it's a case of really getting into an understanding of what the piece is all about, okay? And that's why I've chosen the title A Dark Place for this, because everyone's idea of a dark place will be different, okay? So I'm going to tell you my story of a dark place, and I visualise this story when I'm actually playing this piece, and it gives me an idea a little bit more about how to structure it, okay? So, well, the first thing I want to mention really is that the piece is in ternary form, isn't it? Okay, so you've got 3 sections in this. You've got your A section, you've got your B section, and you've got your A section. Okay, it's like a sandwich piece really, isn't it? With filling in the middle. So, what key is the A section in at the beginning? Okay. Do you think it's in a major key, or do you think it's in a minor key?
Sounds as if it's in a minor key.
It is definitely minor, isn't it? Yeah. It actually starts in C minor. Okay, and that gives it that nice dark perspective. Then, if you have a look at bar 24, it goes to a different key, which is the start of the B section. So what key do you think it is there?
That'd be E major.
Yeah, yeah. So if you think about it, there isn't much of a connection, is there, between C minor and E major? And that's why I chose E major for a key signature there. To go from a minor to a major, it gives a shock, yeah? And that's what the whole of this piece is about. So that links in really to what I'm trying to say about my story. Now, I'll tell you where I wrote this, and I got the stimulation for writing this. Now, I've got a wonderful little country cottage that I go to up in Scotland, and you can go walking into caves. And I actually went into one of the caves, and when I went in, I didn't even have a torch. You know, it's quite spooky and quite frightening, and you could sort of feel the spookiness within the cave. And then what happened when I got deeper into the cave, I actually disturbed a bird, and the bird flew at me and gave me a shock, and then sort of flew out of the cave, and then I decided to go back through the spooky cave and out again. So that really is the structure of this story. So if you sort of visualise that middle section, where the E major section is the bird that startled me, you'll get the idea of where I was coming from when I wrote this piece. Okay? So what you've got to do when you have something with a title like A Dark Place is, I find, think of your own story to go with it in the same way. And think of a spooky sort of environment to start with for the first section. Then think of the shock, something that's going to shock you in the middle with the E major section. And you'll see that the dynamics as well link in with that, because your opening section is double P to start with pianissimo. Okay, so that's why it's good, I think, in that section to actually use the unicorder pedal, because that will really darken it even more. So every time the double P's come into this piece, I would put the unicorder pedal down. You can still use the sustaining pedal as well in the right foot, but you know, I would certainly put that pedal down, because it will help to get that dark and deep feel that you can get from the piano. Okay. The other thing I want to mention as well is that when the shock does come, you can see that the dynamic goes to the extreme, and you've got, for example, at bar 26, the double F, fortissimo. So there, just give it some welly, yeah? Really let it rip. That's the shock, okay? And that's the shock that's got to come through when you play. So shall we give this performance one more go?
Okay.
All right, and see if you can sort of bring some of these ideas out now. So now you know what the story's about. See if you can get the shock a bit more in that middle section. Think about the unicorder pedal. Okay. Just one more thing I want to mention as well, which I think is quite important in this. If you have a look at bar 11, can you see you've got a triplet sign?
Yep.
Okay. Try and roll the triplets a bit more when you play. So da 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 da. Because again, that adds to the spooky feel of the music if you do that. You know, be a bit more lazy with them if you can when you play. Okay. Let's give it one more go. Let's perform it one more time and see if you can put some of these details in.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So I wish you luck for playing this for your grade 6 exam, and thank you very much for coming.